If it touched your chin, we're heading to the Shadow Realm. Henderson was trying to do what no one else could, break the Spider's streak. And to his credit, he looked great in the first round with his grappling. But then Silva turned the tables, outstruck him in the second, took his back, and choked him out. It was a complete flip of the striker versus wrestler narrative. You think you've got the grappling edge until Silva wraps you up in his spider web and forces you to tap, making world-class Olympic wrestlers look lost. The comeback card. Before he was fighting for millions of dollars, the GOAT was flipping burgers at McDonald's. Now, that in itself is a huge comeback in life. But Anderson Silva also had major comebacks inside the cage. You can do everything right for 99% of the bout, but Silva will still find a way to steal it from you at the very last minute. And if you want the perfect example, let me take you back to UFC 117, Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen. Uncle Chael had 24 wins, 8 finishes, and 10 losses. Although if you ask him, he was undefeated and the undisputed champion. Chael was a relentless wrestler and a world-class trash talker, riding a 3-bout win streak, and he was set on drowning Silva under 5 rounds of pressure. The champion was coming off a ridiculous 11-bout win streak. He was the undisputed middleweight GOAT, but his last few performances, especially the one against Damian Maia, left fans annoyed. He spent rounds clowning around and not really engaging, which even had Dana White fuming about his lack of effort. The big question was, is Silva getting too comfortable? Can anyone push him? And if you need someone to push buttons, all you need to do is give Chael Sonnen a call. The man was the loudest trash talker the UFC had ever seen. He had just beaten Nate Marquardt and made it clear that he wasn't scared of the Spider's aura. Chael took trash talk to new levels, calling Silva a fraud and a phony. He dissed Silva's manager, country, and everything in between. So much so that he still can't go to Brazil today.
A lot of people try to kill you.
Fight week was chaos. Chael was talking non-stop, while Silva stayed mostly silent and stoic. The world was hyped because no one had ever dared talk this much smack to Anderson Silva. And Chael wasn't backing down either. Stylistically, he had elite wrestling and cardio. Everyone knew the blueprint to beat Silva was takedowns and pressure, but no one had pulled it off yet. The night arrived and we were about to find out if Chael Sonnen could walk the talk. During the first round, Chael rocked Silva early with a left hand, then took him down and smothered him. And it kept happening, over and over. Punch, takedown, grind. Silva couldn't get off his back, and Chael's ground and pound kept landing. By the end of the fourth round, the fans in the arena and the ones watching at home were all in disbelief. Anderson Silva looked human for the first time, and Chael Sonnen was ahead on every judge's scorecard. The GOAT was about to lose. In the 5th and final round, Chael kept the same game plan. Because if it ain't broke, why fix it? He took Silva down and kept pounding away. But with 2 minutes left on the clock, Silva threw up a desperation triangle choke from the bottom. Chael tried to hold on, but Silva's long legs locked it in tight. The champ then grabbed Chael's arm for an armbar combination. Uncle Chael tapped. After dominating for 23 minutes, he lost. It was the greatest comeback in UFC history. Just like me in my early 20s returning to the club after my friends had sent me home in an Uber. Silva, battered and bruised, stayed classy afterwards. His legend only grew. He was the champ who refused to lose. Obviously, Chael claimed afterward that he didn't tap. He's still undefeated and undisputed. There were reports that Silva fought through a rib injury, which makes this comeback even more impressive. This was the night where Dana White and any other non-believers officially stopped doubting Silva's greatness, despite their previous frustrations. If you made it this far, that means you're a real one. Join our Discord and keep building this channel with us.